So hi everyone, welcome to this video which will last again 15 minutes until YouTube will grant me more time. So for that, please give me a thumb up and share, please. So I have a viewfinder here that I will use to do my values, to reproduce that image that we did last time on video 5, I believe it is. So on one side I've got white, and the other side I've got a raw umber, and we'll find the middle value, and after that find the other two values in between. So I'll have to accelerate those videos a little bit so we can have a maximum of information in 15 minutes. So there we are, fast forward. So there I have mixed my four values plus raw umber pure, which will be my darkest, and titanium white, which will be my lightest. So with that I will draw in the picture that we already worked on earlier when we did the sketch on video 5, and we'll fast forward this as well, and we catch up soon after to block in our underpainting. You may wonder why I have got two rectangles. Well, it is because on the first one I'll do a value study in monochrome, and the second one will be a value study in color. So this is a good practice. Before you go on a bigger picture, you do a study like that, and that will really set you up for a good painting. So I'm wiping the excess before I apply the paint, and now I'm starting to apply my values that I've already mixed before, with the darkest being the sky. So we've got four general values. We've got the sky, which is number 1. In this case I added a little more umber, so we have it's a number 2 really, because I like to keep my pure whites and pure raw umber to get some notes into the picture, some darker and some lighter notes. So it's a value 2 really. So the sky will be a value 2. The cloud and the hills will be a value 3. The grass will be a value 2, and the trees will be a value 4. So that's the general values that we have. And then I will put in notes, value notes, so darker and lighter. But if you keep your painting and who read easily like that in values, you are setting you up for success from the start. So here painting some tree lines between the hill and the foreground, and adding some whites here and there. There I add some darks. See the notes I'm adding now, here and there. So the notes are what it says. They are notes. We mustn't overdo it. If not, you will kill all that study on the value that you have done. Here I'm blending the hill with the sky, and you'd see it'll be part of the picture straight away. I add some far clouds, and will darken a little bit the sky in a moment. just a touch to bring the whole picture together. Okay, so now we are going to work on the color study. I will give you the colors just in a second. So we have yellow ochre, it's an ochre light. We've got alizarin crimson, and that's a yellow cadmium light, so the alizarin crimson. The ultramarine, no, the oxide red, ultramarine blue, and ivory black. And of course the white. So I could have split everything into 4 values again, but as I already have the values, I'll just compare with what I've got above and just go straight into the paint. Notice also that we haven't talked about, but I put some swatches on top. You can see on the paint on top some swatches of my values, so I know what I mixed, and I've got them ready to go for when I do the bigger painting. Bigger painting, by the way, that we are going to do following this video. Hopefully by then YouTube will grant me full-length videos so we can do something a little more serious and have a bit more details in what we are doing. So going back to the painting, I'm darkening the clouds. This is the clouds there. And I'll notice very soon that I'll have to darken it and grey it a little bit more. Therefore I'll add some oxide red, or red oxide. And then we are adding the lighter lights of those clouds peeking through, those who are kissed by the sun. But the values are matching my monochrome study above. I'll do check every time before I put it down the canvas. This canvas, by the way, is a cardboard that I gesso, put 2 or 3 coats of gesso, and then you can paint on with oil paint, no problem. Make sure if you use that you use the acid-free cardboards. They only cost a few pounds. I was saying euro, but for you it's pounds. A few pounds, and you can find them in the art shops. They're quite big. They're 1.20 m by 80 centimeter. So you cut them to size, gesso them, and then you can practice a lot of painting. So here we're adding the darks. They're still not the darkest darks, but they're the darks. It is a dark green, although we can't really see it, but it is a dark green that I had made with blue, alizarin crimson, and some yellow ochre. So I'm squinting my eyes to the picture or to what I have done to make sure that all I see is the one value, and I put it wherever I see it. So now we have put the darks. We are going to make the highlights, which I've added here already. So the highlights are just with a little bit more yellow ochre and cadmium yellow added. They're not too bright, as you can see, because we keep the brightest value for the end. And that will be very soon. So now we are going to, we'll finish off the side and go to the foreground. And the foreground have to have some darks too. I don't add many in this case, other than the tree that I'm going to add. But in the bigger painting, we are getting some few darks in to really make this 3D. What you have to do, however, here is to darken your greens in the foreground, so to have something who's flat, or when I say flat, I mean that reads 3D. Just had a huge truck going past there. So you can see I darken a little bit the foreground, I mean the color, and that is going to go in the foreground with some random strokes. But see how this gets my ground horizontal? Just by adding some darks. Here I add some shadow from trees that we can see that they're off picture. Also follow the lay of the land. The shadow will tell us that the right side is a little higher than the left. So follow the landscape, which tells me that story. Now finally we are adding the tree, which, as you can see, is darker than anything else. And in the picture we'll talk about how to integrate the bottom of the tree. There is a trick to it, and we will talk about it in the next video. So we're finishing a few touches, and this tutorial will come to an end. I hope you liked it. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up and to share, so we can grow together as fast as possible, or as soon as possible, I should say. And that's it. See, I put the swatches as well on the right side, the color swatches, but see how gray they are. There is no strong color in there. So I enjoyed very much painting this for you, and I'll see you soon in the next tutorial. Have a nice painting, and this is a bye from me.